Hey, welcome to your weekly check-in of the times. Where should I start? I apologize if I sound awful. I'm a little under the weather. I have run myself into the ground with activity. Work has been extremely intense, and this weekend I actually was part of our Humanity Heroes backpack drive, where we went down to Skid Row, which is an area of downtown Los Angeles where there's nothing but tent cities and encampments of homeless people, to give out backpacks with supplies for the holidays and beyond, and blankets and tarps and things. And it was a very long day, and my immune system gave in. And that may simply be the perfect metaphor for the energies of this period of time leading up to Christmas. Because not only have we, we're about to move into Capricorn energy, and Capricorn is way more serious than Sagittarius, and delves into our structural beliefs and structural manifestations and structural submission, structural alignment, what traditions we embrace, which traditions we shun, which power sources we plug into and which we remove ourselves from, which authority plans we are in agreement with and not. So it's not like all of that's going to come tumbling down on us like a ton of bricks on the 21st of December, but it is also the solstice, which, from a pagan perspective, and really just an earthly perspective, is obviously a great time of renewal, release and renewal. And that on the heels of the full moon in Gemini, which was pretty intense within itself, because you probably had some kind of a revelation of where you want to take your life next. And I don't mean in terms of very specific scenarios. I mean more, it may have been very subtle. It wasn't so subtle in my case, but what you require in order to come into the story that you were actually born to experience, as opposed to the story you were born into, right? So that's pretty massive, because it implies that we've leveled up to such a degree that we're no longer in the energies of conditioning, but rather in the energies of will and destiny. Okay, so that covers that. Then, of course, today, Sunday, when I'm recording this, we have Venus going retrograde in Capricorn, going all the way back to 11 degrees over the course of the 40-day retrograde. Again, no coincidence there, right? As I've learned from my teachers, 40 days is what it takes to make or break a habit. And as it's in the domain of love and in the domain of delight and the things that we subjectively align with, appreciate, find beauty in, enjoy, it's a whole sort of opportunity to re-examine and fine-tune what that what that means to you. Sorry, as I say that. Also, turning direct today as Venus turns retrograde, Chiron, implying that we are now moving from this Chiron retrograde of going inward to repair and re-examine and reveal the truth of why we have experienced the wounds we've experienced in our life, what purpose they serve, and why they perhaps are no longer active or activated in our lives. And as we move into Chiron direct energy, now's the opportunity to move all of that right back out into the world in our experiences that will give us more of a sense of mastery of the triggers of the conditioning that we've received on our life path thus far. And of course, as we are leading up to the excuse me, Christmas energy, what is the final step of this year? The one major aspect that has influenced pretty much everything, and will continue to in 2022, but not with the same level of precision and exactitude as it has in 2021, which is nice that we're moving beyond that. Saturn squaring Uranus for the third time, Christmas Day. In fact, the energy in general around Christmas Eve and Christmas Day is a little wonky, and frankly, I'm very glad that I have no plans and will instead be spending Christmas in my own little private cocoon, as far as I know. I mean, again, expect the unexpected. If you get too comfortable in like thinking that nothing's going to happen, probably will also, I mean, I hate to say this, but this was looking up at me exactly as I said that, so maybe I'll just take this as the card for this week. Deal with the unexpected. Treat the unforeseen as a divine offering. Easier said than done, right? When we actually just want a little bit of peace and quiet and celebration, whatever it is that you're looking for in this Christ consciousness celebration. Also looking up at me. So we'll take that. No need to even shuffle that one. Do I have everything? No, we need to do some tarot as well. It's easier that I do it this way because honestly, I had no energy all morning, and it took me this long to get around to being able to present in a somewhat cohesive and succinct manner. So, let's see. Our underlying energy is going to take 3, so nice. I like to see that in the past. It'll all make sense when we get into it, right? Nice. And our outcome future energy card, and then I think I'll take some Osho clarifiers this week. What do you think about that? I will actually record another reading on or around Christmas Day, obviously for the week ahead, but it may actually end up being more about the energies of the new year. I have a feeling that that's where that will inevitably take us. But for now, okay, I'm not having to struggle very hard with these cards coming out. They're right and ready. What's our present clarifier? Spirit and other guides and energies. Woo! Oh. Okay. Yes. Excuse me for my dramatic noises, but I'm a little loopy, to be perfectly honest with you. Not because I've taken any kind of weird medication or anything, because I haven't. I don't really like anything that anesthetizes my symptoms, but what is the outcome card, please, Spirit? I did manage to shave this morning, which is something. Well, that's upside down. Okay, so we got that. Okay. I don't think that's going to be enough for us. We need something a little bit more. Oh. Okay. Well, that's a good one to end on. Are we ready? Have I made any sense thus far? I have no idea. How should we do this? Okay. We'll go back to the old format because it pretty much sets a nice tone for the entire reading. Our Spirit Animal Oracle card for the week leading up to Christmas, Dove Spirit, be peace. And I can understand why we would actually benefit from this and need it, and how it's topical, because last week, this ending week, there have been some strange outbursts of imbalance against peace, and certainly in my world. I had one crazy colleague who decided to scream at me randomly, and then tried to turn it into a human resources complaint against me, and not exactly smart. But I will find peace in that situation. And then somebody with road rage decided to cut me off on the road, slam on their brakes in front of me, and then get out of their car and verbally assault me for, well, what seemed like a long period of time, but it can't have been that long. But I just sort of sat there staring at the person, nodding in agreement with them, until they eventually got back in their car and drove off. This is the world that we live in. And I was rattled, but yesterday, being in the spirit of giving all day long and really seeing how much these people need support and basic supplies, and to see the gratitude on the vast majority of those people's faces is it was sort of in radical contrast to that, right? So in the end, the divine gift came through. With her peaceful cooing, the gentle dove spirit invites you to embrace the energy of peace and allow compassion to warm your heart. You always have the power to generate peace within you, and the appearance of Dove Spirit is a reminder that today and every day is a good day to meditate, to quiet any turbulence within as you embody tranquility. Above, below, and all around you, much may be happening to distract you, but you are called to engage it with the heart of a peacemaker, asking yourself, what would peace do? Can you agree to disagree? The peace you seek rises within and spreads out into the world as Spirit sends her messenger to remind you of all the beauty and of a harmonious existence with all that is. How beautiful and powerful is your compassionate heart. And I will read the protection message because the card did come face down. However disturbed the waters around you, however troubled your heart, Dove Spirit is there to remind you that peace without begins within as you reconnect with Spirit through practices that awaken you from spiritual amnesia. Remind me as we speak of amnesia, because this card is specifically related to that, so forgive my absent-mindedness, but we didn't actually talk about what the third pass of Saturn Uranus in square means, so the message is in this protection message, okay? So listen up. Your true nature is as a peaceful child of Spirit, but how easily you forget. You're being invited to sit in the cozy, safe nest of Spirit. Soon the waters will become still and you will feel peace again. Be compassionate with yourself at this time, for all of us can forget that peace is always at hand, always there, gifted to us by Spirit. Become the peace you wish to see in the world so you can reduce any suffering, performing acts of kindness and radiating love. Dove Spirit also reminds you that when you see inequity or someone harmed or in need, trust that you have the capacity to bring peace through smiling, sending love, speaking a kind word, and listening with a compassionate heart. Do your part to be a peacemaker, nourishing compassion, reminding others of the joy of harmonious coexistence so that they may embrace the Dove Spirit within themselves too. And forgive me for reading that as if I were a 7-year-old, but my eyes are a little strained and reading is not really that fun when you have strained eyes, right? So the way I tie that into the Saturn-Uranus final pass is Uranus is the planet of the unexpected, electricity, jolts, sudden shifts. It is, in essence, the tower. And Saturn is our structures. It's Capricornian. It's excuse me. Time. The illusion of time. The mastery of time. The culture in which we live that weaponizes time. When what this final pass is going to actually do in a lot of ways is slow time down, to give us the opportunity to feel that when we are in our highest alignment to divine, we transcend those boundaries. And so we may have some, well, those of us that are really attuned to that, if we can give ourselves the time to do so, we may have moments where we feel literally outside of time and space, and there may be some floaty moments going on around the holidays this year. So prepare yourself for that, but also go with it. If you're in a safe environment, give yourself the opportunity to expand, to go against the expected, to embrace the unexpected. And I guess that's my cue to use that. Deal with the unexpected. And of course, let's not forget that Uranus is in Taurus, so it is issues of the earth, of our grounding, of how we feel nurtured So this is an opportunity to find ways to be nurtured through new, unexpected horizons and opportunities. Which book is that? Oh. Deal with the unexpected, treat the unforeseen. As a divine offering. I'll hold this up so that you don't have to look at my sick face. O sudden resurrection, O boundless providence, you appear into flames to burn the jungle of thoughts. You come blissfully to free us from shackles. You appear to the destitute as divine providence. Rumi. There are times when we are deeply involved in what we are doing, and suddenly something unforeseen happens, and a wrench is thrown into our lives. Many people crumble under this unfamiliar pressure. Rumi is coming to you with a loving heart to gift you the freedom to use unexpected happenings as an offering of grace. He wants you to trust that they pour out as blessings from the benevolent and generous source from which we come. Take the unexpected as a call to be a master of your own fate. When you follow your heart's guidance, your success is inevitable. You learn to respond to whatever comes. The oracle is here to support you in connecting with your inner truth. See and treat the unexpected problem as an opportunity in disguise. Use your initiative to grasp how you can cope under pressure. Let it develop your leadership skills. By trying to maintain a positive attitude, even in the face of adversity, you will have faith in yourself, that you will be ready for things to change at any time. A logical and desired outcome from Sagittarius season, right? Self-belief. Dear one, life has offered you everything with open hands. Accept the gift and grow into the depth of the alluring mystery that pursues you in every moment of your life. To give up and let go of the path in the face of complications is the result of a lack of faith. Surrendering into the arms of mystery is the remedy you have been chasing through your dreams. Dare to surrender to the ups and downs of life and know that a glory greater than paradise awaits you. Mantra. I remain calm and in control of myself when the unexpected occurs. I know that dealing with the unforeseen is a bliss offered to me as divine providence. Now, I'm hoping that I will be more recovered by tomorrow when I have to return to work and get through this. Just the next 3 days, I suppose. I will, at the very least, have a few days off around Christmas. So, because one thing that I do know is that when I'm not feeling 100% physically, and I have to align myself with other people's expectations, and those expectations exceed what I want to give of myself or what I feel I'm capable of giving myself, sometimes peace and patience and grounding. It's not the easiest of things when somebody comes at you with, too much of something. So it's a good reminder for me that I need to figure that out. And right now, I'm trying to sort of see the fact that I ended up getting sick, as I always do with sickness, as being, the universe's reminder that sometimes you have to live in nothingness and just kind of be in the present moment and not have expectations and not be in what am I missing out on mode, or what can I not accomplish right now mode, or whatever. The hurdles are gifts, and that's a really hard perspective to take, right? Because whether they be short term, like the flu or the cold or whatever, or longer term where there's a deeper healing required, it's a reminder of our mortality. It's a reminder of our fragility. It's a reminder of all of those things that we can focus on that make us feel more inclined to want to retract from the experience of life, perhaps, when in fact there are opportunities for us to be reminded, whether it be 48 hours of being out of commission or 6 months of being out of commission, or as I've known personally because of mental health issues or whatever else, sometimes years, a year, 18 months, whatever, out of commission. All of it is incubation for something else to come. So the unexpected brings challenges, but also the opportunity to not empower stress, but instead to approach it with open arms, free flow, fluidity, acceptance, non-resistance, right? So, and again, our broad spectrum cards from Sacred Destiny, you know, these are notions for us to ponder what they mean to us and how we work with them and around them. We have wonders and we have power. Now, of course, I don't usually read from the Oracle book for this deck because I feel like they're broad notions that we have to consider. Wonders in the unexpected, I think that's self-explanatory. We have to look for the wonders in all of our experiences and remind ourselves of all the things that we have. You know, I have quite a few of these crystal pillars, and I'm looking at them right now actually, and maybe they're calling to us. But what shift in dynamism and consciousness can we bring in through wonderment? And as for power, power is something that we should all, in the beginning of Capricorn season, be taking a long, hard look at as to what it means to us. And I believe recently I was watching a Russell Brand video on YouTube where he spoke specifically about the definition of power and what is power. And power is really, you know, having the ability to either enable or prevent someone else from accessing their flow. Those were not the words, but that's how I've filtered it into the spiritual message. So think about that again. Are we complicit to that? Obviously there's, in the tangible world, there's rules and regulations that get in our way all the time. Again, Capricornian dilemma. But when we have a rich inner life, when we have a rich spiritual life, when we find love in the darkest of places, we are re-empowered, regardless of the turmoil and chaos and corruption and perversion of justice, of righteousness, of whatever around us, right? And before we get into our actual tarot, one last Sacred Power reading card that I think speaks very much to the requirement in all of these energies. Again, this is a very Uranian, Saturn dynamic card for us to see as the end result, divine consciousness. And just take a long look at that image, because that's where we're headed. Working with divine consciousness, we can open ourselves up to deep thought and meaning that cannot be described in normal language. It is felt and expressed with the heart and higher self. And I believe this is really what the Wonders and Power cards were also telling us, so thank you, Spirit, for clarifying this. Peace, bliss, and divine power and unlimited expansion awaits when you consciously connect at this level. Between soul and spirit, it is possible to connect our inner being to divine consciousness. Divine consciousness enables us to open our mind to different states of reality and communication. Right now, you are experiencing an awakening. Congratulations. You are raising your consciousness and are energetically shifting. Your divine blueprint has been activated into a new state of awareness. You may feel oversensitive, but it will soon pass as you adjust to this new vibration. You are now connected to the healing energy of the divine. Miracles can occur now if you keep a positive mindset. Archangel Gabriel supervises these transitions as you become connected in mind, body, and spirit. Being connected to the divine consciousness aligns you with your divine purpose, grows and expands your spirit, encouraging you to remember who you were before you came into being. Isn't that what we talked about at the very beginning of what this full moon in Gemini and this solstice really represent? It is this shift into, out of the story we were born into and into the story we are born to live. So what shifting dynamic is there in your life about your divine purpose? Because whatever's happened in the recent past, the key is there for you to find. You are encouraged to meditate to remove yourself from earthly dramas, gossip, and physical issues. Be gentle with yourself, eat nutritious food, drink enough water, and get plenty of rest. By connecting to a state of consciousness higher than our mind's physical awareness, we eliminate impurities and toxicity within the body. Spirit, higher thought forms, angelic connections, and animal messages will come clearly now. Keep a journal if you want for the next 21 days to record the thoughts, feelings, and messages, meditation, and dream states that may arise or appear to you throughout the day as your body adjusts to these new energies. Again, it makes sense with this Venus retrograde for 40 days that there is a vast channeling through some form of portal, or as other people refer to it, a wormhole we come back out of after 40 days transformed. The prayer for us, in addition to our mantra that we already had: I am at one with divine energy. I allow divinity to flow through me and align my unique vibration to the highest form of universal love. Just that. No biggie, right? So our underlying energy of the week, perhaps what we need, and also what we figure we come to find that we have. Strength. This is Leo, so there, I think by the Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, we actually have the moon in Leo, so it may also refer to that as a pivotal time. But what is Leo? And I don't have to really go into the strength card's message here, because it's clarified by the Osho card for playfulness. And I will read this because it sets the tone for our week. So bear with me while I actually try to find it, because really, honestly, if you knew what was happening in my foggy head right now, you would have very low expectations of me, thankfully. Which goes along with the Page of Wands, because the Page of Wands or Page of Fire doesn't really have to live up to expectations, because it's about being inspired and a little bit unhinged and not having to really answer to anybody, because you're learning through the magic of creation and inspiration. Life is rarely as serious as we believe it to be, and when we recognize this fact, it responds by giving us more and more opportunities to play. The woman in this card is celebrating the joy of being alive, like a butterfly that has emerged from its chrysalis in the promise of the light. She reminds us of the time when we were children, discovering seashells on the beach or building castles in the sand without any concern that the waves might come and wash them away in the next moment. She knows that life is a game, and she's playing the part of a clown right now with no sense of embarrassment or pretense. When the page of fire enters your life, it's a sign that you're ready for the fresh and the new. Something wonderful is just on the horizon, and you have just the right quality of playful innocence and clarity to welcome it in with open arms. What the frick is wrong with me? Not with broken arms, with open arms. Oh my god. I'll read that again just for the sake of intentionality. Something wonderful is just on the horizon, and you have just the right quality of playful innocence and clarity to welcome it with open arms. The moment you start seeing life as non-serious, a playfulness, all the burden on your heart disappears. All the fear of death, of life, of love, everything disappears. One starts living with a very light weight, or almost no weight. So weightless one becomes, one can fly in the open sky. Zen's greatest contribution is to give you an alternative to the serious man. The serious man has made the world. The serious man has made all the religions. He has created all the philosophies, all the cultures, all the moralities. Everything that exists around you is a creation of the serious man. Zen has dropped out of the serious world. It has created a world of its own, which is very playful, full of laughter, where even great masters behave like children. Right? And I think about that because I was like tarnished by that hideous coworker of mine and that hideous driver, just energetically within 48 hours, those two things kind of were like a big throttling of my nervous system, and I became impacted, engulfed in my emotional response to those things rather than letting go and allowing myself to just continue to be the playful, lighthearted, loving person that I actually am. And that's really how we have to look at everything, right? When we actually get to a point of enlightenment. Like, there's no point in carrying that baggage because that's just ego. And we're going to get into that in our next cards because you're going to see what is our past energy here. That card that we had last week, somewhere in our reading, the Five of Swords. This is the egoic struggle. This is when we fight to be right. Not within ourselves, but for the sake of proving it to others. And that, of course, causes nothing but turmoil and imbalance and deep discomfort, and perhaps even sickness. So how do I know that we've had a massive breakthrough away from that? In my case, perhaps from spending an entire day for, in a humanitarian goal. It brought me out of that kind of nonsense and allowed me to see the joy and compassion and empathy that everyone I was with, the solidarity that we had in pursuing those goals together. We have breakthrough and we have the tower. So again, we were wondering about what that tower was last week. So the reason why this has come up in our past is because it gives us the clarity. The tower was about breaking down structures that will not serve us in this brand new Capricornian energy, beyond the Saturn Uranus energy. We're talking about having a breakthrough into non-egoic responsiveness. Because all of our reactions are ego-based, right? And what happens when we release that? We come into our present energy, and we're probably going to get through these cards in the reading pretty quickly, so maybe you felt like it was dragging up until now, but the flow is pretty clear here. At the center of our reading, we have the Magician. So when you move beyond the Five of Swords, that egoic restrictiveness, you move back into magician energy, which is where you understand that you hold all of the power within you. It's just a matter of the right alchemical approach to receiving the divine, which means stepping out of your ego, because that's how divinity and divine meaningfulness and purposefulness comes in. The ego blocks that at every step of the way, and it's really hard to be conscious of that when you're actually experiencing it. But just think about your responses to everything, where you've been upset, where you've been antagonized, where you've antagonized others, where you've been defensive. All egoic responses. Sometimes there is a genuine need for self-love through self-preservation. That's sort of the stumbling phase of self-love, in which case we do have to have broader definitions of boundaries and so on and so forth. But when we step outside of the ego, we become re-empowered to be able to, receive anything that comes at us with love, right? So that's the goal. And again, we get a very strong indication of where that heads, because we got 2 clarifiers on that from the Osho, and also one flew out of the Botticelli Tarot to give us a shift of the understanding of what is happening with this magician. So we move away from this again. This is the 5 of Cups, which is the same energy as the 5 of Swords, but rather than being in the realm of knowledge and ideas, to preserve the ego, I can't speak, what's wrong with me, the ego. This, as it's shown here, is comparison, or in the 5 of Cups, focusing on the loss. The loss then revealing the egoic difference that we have with another, and then if we're holding ourselves to the standard of comparison, then we're going to be like, why aren't they as hurt as I was? Why haven't they adjusted in the same way as I have? Why haven't they put the same boundaries in place as I have? Why are they able to move on from outrageous behavior and I'm not? All of this kind of stuff. Well, again, when you step outside of the ego, you come to the understanding that it doesn't matter if you're the oak or the bamboo. Both have strengths in their own way. So it doesn't matter which one you are. Just embrace that you are, and embrace that the other exists. And this, in turn, leads to the Wheel of Fortune turning into the next karmic resolution cycle, the learning curve, the great expansiveness of opportunity for divine purpose in order to reach divine consciousness, right? The whole reading so far has been about letting go of conflict, whether within the conflict towards ourselves is a huge one. Let's not forget that. We are our own worst enemy. So if you find yourself in a position of self-judgment, if you find yourself in the position where you're, being hard on yourself for the results of something in somebody else's life, or where you ended up, or, the way that you feel about somebody else maybe, or whatever it may be. It could be anything, But if it's causing imbalance, if it's causing strife, if it's causing you to feel anything other than joy and love, it's worth giving yourself this opportunity in this period of time to let go of that, and instead to provide yourself with the kind of love, nourishment, and support that you deserve. Because if you can't give it to yourself, no one else is ever going to. And they might not anyway. So give it to yourself. Right? Our outcome, interesting. So, we got the Page of Cups. So we had that Page of Wands. And the Page of Cups in our future is where that boundless, inspired, youthful, unhindered by rules and I wanted to say laws, but I didn't really mean to break the law. I just mean, without having that consciousness that there's all these things that restrict us, leads to being able to go into that same space emotionally, where we're able to take chances and risks emotionally once again, where we're able to receive from others and feel safe in giving. And it can come down to something as simple as, let's say, for example, you have strong feelings for another person, but they don't share your sexuality, or they don't share your vision of life, or, they have a very different path ahead of them that wouldn't really fit into a communal, shared path in your prescribed, restrictive mindset. Why wouldn't you express your love for that person anyway? I mean, it doesn't mean that you have to tell them that you want to, rip their clothes off and, objectify them. But you could do that if you wanted. But it's simply, the idea is that you're expressing love. You're expressing love for yourself. You're expressing an integral part of who you are. How it's received is not your responsibility, nor is it something that you can control. But for it to sit inside of yourself as an unactivated emotion or a repressed emotion serves absolutely no purpose whatsoever. That is the opposite of divine consciousness. And as we did get that card of dealing with the unexpected, there's also a strong implication that in life, we can never predict how another will respond or how circumstances will reveal themselves when we take that step forward. It's just conditioning, it's fear that puts us in the position where we don't take action. And if that's fear of rejection or if it's fear of loss, then whatever it is that you're fearing being rejected by isn't really worth it outside of your own expression of emotion, right? So again, all ego shit that gets in the way. And clearly we've had a pretty big breakthrough, and we're continuing to have that in this energetic force that we're in right now, moving away from ego-driven responses and injury and so on and so forth. And in turn, we get the stress card in reverse. I don't even need to read that, but I think that it's just it's the idea of being unburdened. Can you allow yourself to make that your Christmas gift to yourself? To unburden yourself of all of the turmoil and tumult that you cause within yourself because of your egoic responses of self-preservation that you don't even need to do, because you are preserved because you love yourself. It does not matter what anybody else thinks. If they make you feel better, bonus time, But if they don't, you're you. You do you. And our outcome, which I shall read in full, which will be the ending of our reading leading up to Christmas, and I shall see you on or around Christmas after this, is existence. And this is the card that comes after the Fool. So it's intentionality. All of this energy that we've had is Fool energy. It's the unknown. It's the will to use the self-belief that we've honed in Sagittarius season. I can't remember where I was going with that, but you understood. Now you go with it into intentionality, into actually putting it into action. The being, its first house, it's who are you? Who are you in this new cycle? because you have the opportunity to radically reinvent yourself right now, based on how you respond to things and how you feel about yourself and others and life. Even if you're sick or injured, whatever. I'll hold it up for you. This naked figure sits on the lotus leaf of perfection, gazing at the beauty of the night. She knows that home is not a physical place in the outside world, but an inner quality of relaxation and acceptance. The stars, the rocks, the trees, the flowers, fish and birds, all are our brothers and sisters in this dance of life. We human beings tend to forget this as we pursue our own private agendas and believe we must fight to get what we need. But ultimately, our sense of separateness is just an illusion, manufactured by the narrow preoccupations of the mind. Now is the time to look at whether you are allowing yourself to receive the extraordinary gift of feeling at home wherever you are. If you are, be sure to take time to savor it so it can deepen and remain with you. If, on the other hand, you've been feeling like the world is out to get you, it's time to take a break. Go outside tonight and look at the stars. You are not accidental. Existence needs you. Without you, something will be missing in existence and nobody can replace it. That's what gives you dignity. That the whole existence will miss you. The stars and sun and moon, the trees and birds and earth, everything in the universe will feel a small place is vacant, which cannot be filled by anybody except you. This gives you a tremendous joy, a fulfillment that you are related to existence and existence cares for you. Once you are clean and clear, you can see tremendous love falling on you from all dimensions. That is the ultimate spirit of Christ consciousness of Christmas itself. So I think we couldn't have had a more beautiful reading than the one we've had. I want to thank you for being with me throughout this year. We've obviously experienced a great deal, and maybe we'll look at that more in review when we talk next, but for now, I wish you blessings, love, warmth, beauty throughout your holiday season, however and whenever and with whomever you celebrate that. Even if, like me, you will do so alone, or at least with my cat, Enzo. I love you all, and I wish you everything that you could desire for your betterment and increased joy. Gratitude. Blessings. Namaste.